Hello, hello everyone. My name is Tiffany and welcome to my channel Foxey Sunrise. I don't even know why I tried to adjust these piles. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. It's not gonna look any kind of way. Today we have a pick a card reading. I'm gonna be shuffling the tarot on camera and a couple other decks on camera. So today's topic is all about divine self-empowerment and how we can step into becoming more self-empowered. This phrase has been coming up to my mind, and it's kind of how I'm coming up with these topics. I'm like playing with different words and the way that they feel and using them as a sort of focal point in a reading to see what comes up. So if you are on a path of self-love, if you're on a path of individuation, or if you're just curious, if you're just drawn to this phrase, there's something that sounds really attractive, there's something that's really magnetic about the title of this reading, and check it out. So we have 3 groups today. Pick as many piles as you're drawn to. All the timestamps will be down below in the description box, and I also include a link underneath the timestamps that you can use to calculate your astrological birth chart. If you have your time of birth, you get the most specific information, and this is more Western interpretations, and also just intuitive interpretations of the astrological signs. And if it doesn't match up, that's totally fine. It could just be an archetype or energy that you're moving through, that you're embodying, that you're learning from. So keep that in mind as well. Which is also why I say energies. I might mention like placements of houses and planets. If you don't get it, it's totally fine. But I like to mention it and throw it out there. So yes, I'm going to introduce the groups now. We have Group 1, which is trick and education. Group 2 is Goblin and recognition. And Group 3 got the most cards out of all the groups. So I feel like we got a lot to discuss with Group 3. We have comfort and stuck in the mud. Alright. And I shall see you at your pile. Hello, Group 1. Welcome to your reading about divine self-empowerment. So, your themes for this reading are trick and education. So, the theme seems to be around the mind. There's a lot of heavy intention on the mind. We have the number 35 here, which adds up to the number 8. And 8 is a very karmic number. It's a number of cycles. It's also a number of, I would say, divine will, abundance, strength, and power. Empowering the self. I'm actually thinking of a card in the tarot. It's the 8th card of one of the suits, the 8 of Swords, and it really has to do with entrapments that we make within the mind. There's a lot of awareness and inward questioning and examination, so introspection, that needs to be had to be aware of the ways that we entrap ourselves. So I really feel that there is an inquiry of philosophies. Maybe you're reading self-help books, being drawn to self-help books, and just books where I really feel that reading is, or even audiobooks if you're not really much of a reader, audiobooks, podcasts, just delving into different information is really going to open your mind up to different ways of being. I feel like it's almost like putting, I don't know much about cars, so I don't know if I'm even expressing this correctly, but it's like, I'm thinking of Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, where they would put like these chemicals in their car to really like speed up the acceleration of their car. I feel that way about certain media that we are drawn to and that we engage with and absorb. So there may be certain books that you're drawn to, and there's a need to open yourself up to new information, new philosophies, new perspectives that's going to really help you shed certain mindsets that can be limiting and that ultimately disempower you, because the topic of the reading is divine self-empowerment. So there's something about studying, researching, being curious that is really freeing your mind. Divine self-empowerment. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Put that like that. There's a lot of newness. There's a lot of newness and individuation happening. So I feel that this group almost needs to disconnect and detach from distractions, from the noise that's around them. To be able to see the options that you have, there's like a need to be able to see what's possible, to expand your horizons and awareness. And I feel expanding your mind also keeps you from feeling limited. So there's a need for expansion here. There's a need for there's a need for solitude and for self-inquiry, I'm almost getting the idea of someone traveling somewhere or moving somewhere for a short period of time to like be around people that they don't know, around a new environment, so that they can really explore themselves more. Okay, so there's the Eight of Swords. That kind of just fell out. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's an emphasis on spending time alone, self-study, and really illuminating around what you find within. Allowing yourself to be drawn to certain topics, subjects, ideas that you're drawn to, and opening up your mind to all of the possibilities that you do have. Because maybe there's an environment that you've been in where you've been kind of feeling limited, or the people are limited. They don't see the options that they have. There's a lot of like opinions but no action. There's a lot of like reasons why you can't do something or they can't do something, and so you're noticing the stagnancy either outside of you that might be affecting yourself, or in general you may be just noticing stagnancy in your environment. There's a lot of people who aren't making decisions. Maybe you find yourself indecisive, maybe a little bit people-pleasing, or you feel like you need to harmonize with your environment. You're feeling as though you kind of have to go along to get along, which is keeping you from really being led by your truth. It's almost as if like you're adapting to the people of your environment, but there's something inside of you that doesn't really want to conform to that anymore. So there's like this refreshed way of thinking that's coming out of you now, or is being asked of you to refresh your mind, refresh your values, refresh what you believe in. Either refresh it or refresh yourself to the truth of those things, of what you actually care about. Because I keep wanting to mention an environment. So wherever you are may be slower moving than you are at this time. So there's a need to step out, explore unknown lands, whether it's inwardly or externally or both. Maybe going somewhere new will also expedite the expansion of your mind, of your perspective. So it's really like stepping out, disconnecting and detaching from the things that keep you in this sort of disempowered state, and self-doubt, and shame, and anxiety and worry. So it's like this solitude is really your way of pushing yourself out of this mindset, this limiting mindset. You're fighting for your mental freedom, fighting for the sovereignty of your mind, taking your mind back. I'm also getting the image of somebody who is individuating from their family, from their parents. Maybe you've kind of been existing in the archetype of the good person, the good girl, the good boy, the good Samaritan, the person who listens and follows rules and things like that, but it's kind of watered you down. It's watered down the truth of your authentic expression. And so there's almost like a rebellious streak that I'm feeling from this group. It's kind of exciting. It's not chaotic necessarily, but it just feels like a little bit unpredictable. Like, what are you going to do next? Especially because people might have known you. The people around you may see you a certain way. And because you're saying fuck all that, I feel that the energy that you're giving off feels unpredictable because it's different from how you've been. Even though, like, how you've been wasn't really your truth. It's just so exciting. I don't know. It feels very Uranian. So, I don't know. I'm feeling like the planet Uranus in your birth chart is conjunct, which just means it's the same sign. It's the same astrology sign as your moon sign, or maybe you have the planet Uranus in your 4th house. Or Uranus may be transiting right now. It's in Taurus. It may be on your sun, so maybe you're a Taurus sun, and it's really I feel that Uranus, the planet Uranus, is somehow affecting your personal planets, and the personal planets would be the sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, or Mars. So I feel like this time, the next few years, you're really going to be stepping out of your false comfort zone. And I say false comfort zone because it may have been comfortable, but it wasn't really true. It wasn't true comfort because your soul wants something else. So yeah, I feel like Uranus is affecting you at this time in some way. Or there's something that is coming alive in your birth chart for some of you. But there's like this strong energy of rebellion, of stepping out of norms and values. Saying like F you to tradition. So we have the card Fear. We also have Pisces in reverse and Adversity. So I feel that there's a need to really challenge what has happened. Oh my goodness. There's a need to really challenge what has happened to you in the past. So there may be some questioning about past hurts, past betrayals, just past things that maybe have kept you in fear, kept you away from truly keeping your dreams alive, that have stifled your creativity, stifled your true desires. I'm almost getting like an adaptation to like generational trauma. So like, for example, if you grew up with parents who were poor, and they constantly, like, this is such a good example, really. So it's like you grew up a lower class, poor. Maybe your parents also grew up in sort of a low-income household. Or maybe they got out of that. That's another angle that you can look at it. But for whatever reason, like, in this example, your parents are very fearful about splurging. Maybe in this example, this child never experienced really a vacation because their parents were so stingy about spending money, even though they might have had a lot of money. Maybe they didn't. They stuck to what was secure. They stuck to, they decided to live close to home in this example because, you know, they were fearful of what else could be out there, you know, so they stayed in their small town. They stayed small in the way that they spent their money and made investments. They stayed small in their job and their career. They learned to stay small. And so in this example, they taught their child how it was the safe route and the safest assured way of security. The assured way of security and being safe was to not take any risks. So again, in this example, that is where the fear was kind of planted as a seed in the child very young, was, oh, well, taking vacations is a waste of time. It's not safe to move out of this small town. It's not safe to learn anything new. It's not safe to branch out. So there may be something similar, and it might not be money, it might be money, but that's just to give you a clear picture of how this fear can start very early. Another example would be, say, you were very outgoing as a child, but maybe as you grew older, people may have made fun of you for some reason, or maybe you are disciplined to stay quiet because you talk too much. Maybe people labeled you as ADHD. So again, these are some examples of like a sort of smaller level adversity. It's still adversity nonetheless, but maybe you eventually adapted to being quiet and not using your voice. Another example, one that kind of hits close to home for me, is like, as a child, most of the time, children are very blunt and expressive about how they feel. And that's not always comfortable. It can be very triggering for the adults around you. So maybe you were punished by a very triggered parent a lot of the times for speaking up and saying the truth about certain situations. Even just I'm thinking of a child who is maybe like a tattletale, and maybe they got bullied by their older siblings for being a tattletale and speaking up. And there's something that, like, I'm veering off a little bit, but there's something interesting about that example, because I definitely know, like, being the rat or tattletaling was, like, looked down upon. I especially didn't like it because I was the oldest one. But whenever you judge a child for telling the truth, like, just sitting with that idea for a second, a child that tells the truth and is harmed for it or reprimanded for it in some sort of way, that can be very triggering and traumatizing. And then later on, like, if that person doesn't grow out of it, they just have that adversity as a memory, and these memories stick in, they stick in our mind. They also kind of create homes within our bodies, and they stay in our bodies. So coming out of this fear can feel like death sometimes. So yeah, those are some examples that come to my mind that can just stifle this very expansive, very boundless, infinite expression of our personality, of our souls in the long run. So if you can think of something that has affected the way that you really can express yourself, if there's there's something that is really limiting you, and it's important for you to expose yourself to information that may contradict what you have learned. That's a beautiful way of putting that, actually. Exposing yourself to perspectives, to new information, to new environments, traveling to new places. I'm also getting an example. I was working in Dallas for a month, and I was actually working at a strip club, and I wasn't dancing. I was a shot girl, but this white guy, so ridiculous, but he grew up in Ohio, in a small town in Ohio, and had never been around black people until he joined, I don't know if it was the Navy, I don't know what branch of the military it was, but he joined the military. I'm pretty sure it was the Navy. Anyways, doesn't really matter, but he was finally around other black people, and he hooked up with his first black girl, and he was like, oh, I never go back after that, like, you know. And so that might not be an adversity per se, but again, it kind of goes back to like sort of, and he didn't intentionally rebel against the things that he knew. It just kind of happened organically, but it's just kind of like traveling, stepping out, and getting exposed to these things that will change the values, because those values, some of the values that you have, some of the ways that you think, maybe really something from your mom's side that, you know, may have made sense for where you grew up, but it doesn't make sense anymore. And once you get out of your environment, I don't know why I'm using this like small town girl example, but it just really fits. It's like, get out of that small town, and that small town that maybe has never had a Walmart or a super store. I don't know. I say Walmart because we have Walmarts here. I don't know if there's, I don't know. I know there's Publix, but I can't think of, I don't know the the supermarkets in every country. Anyways, yeah, I'm just trying to beat a dead horse, I guess. That's such a weird analogy. I need to think of another one. I really don't like that one. Anyways, yeah, the small town that you're stuck in, that you're comfortable in staying in, could be a mindset. It could be the clothes that you wear that you don't even like. You just thought those clothes were cool like when you were younger because you were trying to dress a certain way. It could be so small, and it could be so large, or it could be in between. But just be aware of what is being triggered as you're watching this reading and as I'm giving you these examples. Okay, I feel like this is going to be a long one. Divine self-empowerment for group 1. Divine self-empowerment for group 1. Oh. Sacred self, unleash your spirit, express your gifts, dance to the sacred rhythm of life. Teacher awakens. That's funny because when I opened the box, like, that card fell out. This reminds me of a group that I did for the reading before this one. So maybe you watched that one. It's the leap of faith that you're hesitating to take. That was the last reading. So maybe you're coming from that reading. Anyways, we have the Shekinah. And the Holy Spirit, to me, the way that I'm interpreting this card feels like freedom. And so there's something about expression. Again, the mind, the throat chakra, the dove is around her throat, her voice box, the way that she expresses herself. So it's beyond like the voice, but it's just expression in general. There's like a freeing of the way that you express yourself. I'm seeing the image of a caged dove in the throat area. So for some of you, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the witch wound. Maybe this group might resonate with the idea of that. If you've never heard of it, I'm sure if you Google it, there's going to be plenty of spiritual blogs about the witch wound. But I'm really seeing someone who is freeing themselves as far as the way that they express themselves. Because maybe I'm seeing someone with possibly Mercury in the 8th or the 12th house, the planet Mercury in their birth chart, in the 8th or the 12th house. There's something, or even the 4th. There's something about feeling comfortable hiding your sense of expression, and there's a need to share it. There's a need to wear it on your sleeve. There's a need to bring it out, especially because there is a possible talent or gift in the way that you speak and the way that you express yourself that's really important and needs to be shared, which is also again emphasized in Mary Magdalene. Yeah, it's definitely reminding me of another group that I did a reading on. It's this last reading that I did. So I do want to bring up again, when I see Mary Magdalene, it really triggers like Catholic school. So I don't know if you had a strict religious upbringing. Again, that would make so much sense with adversity and the whole like mental values and like moving away from like small town thinking. So this could definitely be something around like religious trauma, having an upbringing that stifled you because of a strict religious upbringing and values that you're really trying to rebel against. Yeah, the other thing with Pisces in reverse too is I feel, and I was getting that from the caged bird. The caged bird feels like, and the Pisces in reverse really feels like someone who you might have definitely very unorthodox and different beliefs from how you were raised or from your religious upbringing or something along those lines. I'm definitely getting somebody who has had to hide their interests because you didn't want to be scrutinized, or maybe, again, like I mentioned the witch wound, maybe you fear that your family might think you're evil, or they might really harshly judge these things that you are so fascinated by and want to study and are curious about. It could be tarot. It could be like holistic healing. It could be a lot of different things, you know. But there's something unorthodox about you in general. But I feel like it's been hidden. It's been hidden because of criticism, maybe even ostracization, ostracizing, being ostracized, ostracization. I mean, that could be a word, I don't know. Oh my gosh, 30 minutes, damn, that went by really fast. Okay. Yeah, the mind and the values is being heavily challenged here. There's and I almost want to correct myself in saying that there's a need to challenge the mind and to challenge yourself to speak more, to express more, to share what you like to do. Like, it could be as easy as that. To share the things that you actually like to do. If somebody asks you what you do, if you find yourself, and this is so resonant for me, if you find yourself having a double life, and it could be as simple as like, oh, there's the you that you present to the world, and then there's a you in quiet that likes to knit. I'm trying to think of something really weird. I don't know. I guess that's a silly example. Like, there's the you who is an accountant and who's really logical and good with numbers. And then there's the you that talks about past lives and runs a meditation circle, or like knits these tapestries for temples and blesses them with prayers. I don't know. This is such an outlandish example, but it's just like, is someone at your accountant job, for example, asks you like, oh, so what do you do outside of work, Karen? And Karen is just like, oh, you know, I research stock markets. Like, you say something that would sound like something you should say if you're working with numbers all day, so you just want to sound normal, you know. So it's in that example, in that ridiculous example, that's a version of someone, that's a story about someone who's living a double life. Instead of sharing very unapologetically, very bravely, like, oh, I knit, I make, this is a better example because I saw this on YouTube. Oh, I go to this meditation circle where I play with sand and I make mandalas with sand, and I learn about detachment because we make these beautiful mandalas, and after we make them, we blow them away to symbolize impermanence. I don't know. And you're worried and concerned that your accountant friend Bob will look at you crazy because it's like, whoa, Karen's a weirdo. She just makes beautiful circles with her girlfriends, but she's an accountant. How does that work? Like, I don't know. And these, even as I'm saying this, these could be ideas. Like, this could be a way that you think about something that sounds similar to that story with Karen and Bob. And Karen might be just tripping. Karen might just be tripping. Karen, like, that could be all in Karen's head. Like, that example could even just be an idea or a daydream that Karen has played out, and she might feel that Bob by the water cooler might think that she's crazy for making beautiful mandalas. And that might all be in her head. That might not even be true. Bob might look at a picture of the mandala that she made and be like, Karen, that's dope. Karen, you know, I've been wanting to relax. I think this might be the thing that I've been looking for. Karen, you're a genius. Like, Karen, can I come to your mandala sand circles? Like, I don't know. This is so such a silly example. It makes me laugh. It makes me smile really hard. But yeah, again, like, it could be all in your head, and it could actually be true. It could be both, though. Like, because you have that expectation, you will get that result. But I really feel like either way, whatever the fuck it is, you need to express yourself. You need to share it. It doesn't matter how people feel. And really, when you share these things, when you inquire about these things, one, you will lose the people who don't nurture you expanding yourself in this way and really honing in on your gifts, because the things that we're attracted to learn, they may be in some way beneficial to our growth and growing our talents and abilities and becoming prosperous because of it. So if you share what you're into and it someone doesn't understand it, they don't want to understand it, you know, of course, hopefully, I don't know why I feel the need to say something as obvious as like, hopefully it's not harming anyone else or yourself. I feel like that's very obvious, but I'm throwing that out there. But if someone just doesn't get it, like, oh, I like to go on forest bathing hikes where I just walk in quiet and I get lost in the forest views, and someone's just like, wow, that's weird, like, I don't really get it, then that person isn't for you, and you can suss out those people more easily if you're not hiding yourself. And then the people who are meant to be around you and who support that and who expand on that, who push you to make that a whole like Facebook event, those are the people you want around you. And you will find those people more easily when you allow your bird to sing, when you allow yourself to, when you allow your soul to howl like the wolf during a full moon. Because your soul family, your tribe will hear you. They will know that you are out there. They will know that you're ready for them because you're not hiding yourself anymore. You're not hiding your interests. So, yeah, that definitely progressed. That was a really long one. Holy smokes. I do not have to prove myself to anyone. Powerful. Powerful. I'm not going to explain these because this is almost 40 minutes. Juicy reading though. I love it. Okay, I want to get 2 more for group 1. I am safe to be my true, authentic self. And bottom of the deck, this is your last one. My ability to conquer my challenges is limitless. My potential to succeed is infinite. Well, whoever needed these messages really needed them, because 40 minutes, that's wild. Anyways, thank you for stopping by. Maybe listen to this like a podcast or something. I would hope. It'd be cool if somebody would want to listen to me talk for 39 minutes and 40 seconds. So if you listen to the end, wow. I love you. Thank you for stopping by. I hope that was packed with plenty of things that you needed. Let me know what stuck out for you. Let me know how this was helpful in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe for more readings like this one. I love you so much, and I will see you soon. Holy shit. Group 2. Where is that? Oh, okay. Group 1 was a doozy. It did not feel like I was talking for 40 minutes, but apparently I was. So, this must be a very important reading. I don't know. I hope I didn't, like, get your hopes up. I don't know how long your reading is going to be. It really just depends. But, oh my gosh. I can talk. A motherfucker can talk. Like, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I think that's the longest reading I've done thus far. I'm excited, but I'm also like, okay, should I pull back? Like, was that too much? I don't know. Anyways, hi. If you chose Goblins and Recognition, this is your reading surrounding divine self empowerment. So, and aligning with it. So, okay, so this one definitely, there was some energy surrounding. Oh wow, okay, so I don't know if this group experienced any kind of bullying or judgment, like harsh judgment of some sort. But there's something about like not seeing how. When I see the card Goblins, this is definitely the noise in the mind that's keeping you distracted. And the thing that you're being distracted from is your significance, your dopeness. I really want to look up, I actually gave this deck to my brother. Like, I bought it for myself used, but I gave it to him. Like, I thought he'd want to play with it. But I use, if you've watched a lot of my readings, I have like a limited amount of decks, and I did buy a new one recently, but I've been playing with it personally to kind of get to know her. So eventually I will use her, but I kind of just use what I have. I don't have like a huge collection of decks, to be honest. So I just kind of like use a combination of every deck. But I really wanted to kind of freshen up this reading. So anyways, I digress. I haven't used this deck really since I've gotten it. It's just been kind of in my brother's room, so I grabbed it for this reading, and I'm really excited because it feels fresh. It feels like this reading is fresh now. So yeah, I want to read Goblins in reverse. It's often difficult to deal with someone else's issues because they impact your own. No one is perfect, but in this case, you're particularly vulnerable to being manipulated. Don't take this world personally. When the Goblins card arrives reversed, it's a sign to step back with detachment. Don't let other people's stuff lead you into reacting from an old wound. Love yourself unconditionally. Set boundaries and your goblins will fall asleep. Love is the only answer. Okay, I could have definitely intuited that, but I just wanted to read it. I needed the reassurance. And maybe that's kind of like the energy that you feel. You feel that you need reassurance from your outside environment to know how amazing you are. And that's not necessary. And that's hard to say. It's easier said than done because of the fact that this group may have been torn down repeatedly, rejected. There may have been some failures that are still really fresh. Again, like, I was getting the energy of somebody who had been judged and bullied. And maybe there's a sense of hiding oneself as well. Like, there's something that you're really good at, but you feel like people wouldn't get it, or hiding oneself as far as like shape-shifting. So shape-shifting to your environment. There's again like this double life vibe. So I don't know if some of you came from another group. Oh my gosh. Interesting. Yeah, it's like keeping your gifts, your talents, your abilities close to the chest. You're not sharing them necessarily. And the goblins, the goblins. Okay, the analogy that I'm getting is someone, I'm bringing up the bullying example again. Someone who was bullied in elementary school and maybe middle school. But in high school and in college, you're out of school now, and that's not happening anymore. But there's like a training of a behavior. So once those external goblins have gone away, now we continue doing their dirty work for them because we're so used to being beat up verbally or other ways. And so it feels like we've become the person that have stifled ourselves in this group. We've carried on and continued to self-criticize and self-judge and bully ourselves, even though that's no longer happening to us on the outside. And yeah, it's blinding you to seeing yourself clearly. There's a real need to show up differently. I'm getting the image of Napoleon Dynamite. I don't know if any of you have seen that movie, but I'm seeing him and that like famous talent show scene, and they really portrayed the vibe so perfectly because at least like for me, like I felt so nervous for him, but he'd been practicing. He was so like ready for this talent show performance, and I feel like there's a lot of suspense. You feel the nerves, like, but there's something about like stepping out and showing up. And there's something about like talent show, like the idea of like exposing yourself in front of people for your talent. Like there's something about that, the vibe of that feels significant. So there's a need to kind of like, it's like facing this fear and allowing the goblins to die out by doing the exact thing that you're scared to do, which is talked about in this book that I'm reading. So the way to really face your fears and your triggers is kind of attacking it at the neck, at the jugular. And then you'll also, like, all the, like, really deep, shadowy things, the things that you think about yourself that come up, will really show their face whenever you dare yourself to do that thing. Yeah, I don't know, there's something you're really good at, but you're, like, scared to share it. Because you have these ideas. And again, like, in the other group, there was like a similar energy of sort of, because you have like taken on these ideas that you have of yourself that are possibly self-deprecating, you assume that other people are thinking the same way about you that you're thinking of yourself. And do you ever really know that? Can you really assume that? Is it helpful to assume that? Because it really is just an assumption. Oh my gosh, that spider looks so frightening. I didn't even realize there's a spider there. Ugh. Oh my gosh. That triggered me. So it's like you gotta see that the boogie monster isn't really a monster. It's a figment of your imagination. 2, aligning with divine self-empowerment. Group 2, aligning with divine self-empowerment. Oh my gosh, look at the birds. They're so cute. I love facing my window in the mornings and doing these readings. What a vibe. Okay. Group 2, aligning with divine self-empowerment. Group 2, you're burning a lot of energy staying in this cycle of, like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting holding yourself back. It's exhausting judging yourself. It's exhausting being self-critical. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. You need to let this go. It's so draining. It's like keeping you from your bomb.comness. It's keeping you from your hot girl life. Like, it's just keeping you stuck. Like, I don't, again, easier said than done, but you gotta get over it. It's like you may be paranoid or anxious, you may have some trust issues, you may just think like people are after you, like you can't really be yourself around people because they'll take advantage of you. Like, it's no excuse to not be your damn self. Like, it's no excuse. It's giving power away from the external. And again, like, a lot of these things are probably just assumptions. You have to see that you're in this cycle of fight or flight, a survival mode, because of the things that have happened to you. And it's keeping you from your greatness. Can you be great if you're worried about people stabbing you in the back? Can you be great if you're worried about people judging every little thing that you do? Can you be great if you're judging every little thing that you do? If you do something enough times, one, you're practicing. Duh. One, you're practicing. Two, because you're practicing, you're going to get better at it, especially if it's something you're drawn to. Three, you might realize how good you are at it naturally. And you're practicing all at the same time. It's like so many things all wrapped into one. So I'm really using the gift example because, like, that's what I'm getting. Like, there's something that you're good at. There's something that you can do. But you're not even, you're just letting it lie dormant. I'm thinking of this tweet my friend posted. And it was on his Instagram, so it was like he was making like a story. He was writing a story about it on an Instagram post, and it was along the lines of, if you don't use it, you lose it. And maybe you don't necessarily... Now I'm contradicting myself. I'm thinking of it. I wanted to say maybe you don't necessarily lose it, but you can, because it gets pushed back so far in the shadows that it just becomes one of those things that you talk about when you get old, and you're like, yeah, you know, I really wanted to do this, but I just didn't because I had all these excuses for why I shouldn't do it. And it's just one of those things that you just let fall to the wayside. And that's not, there's a need to value this. Even if you're the only one valuing it, like, hold it dear to your heart and take the journey of growing that coin into a big investment, into an empire, into abundance. That's what you should be using your energy for, and not like feeding it into this negativity, this self-doubt. Yeah, I feel like there's a need to rebel against your own self, your own values, especially if they've been hurting you. We have Luna and we have change. Wow, that's interesting. We have another number 8. There's number 8 came up in the the number 8 came up in the last reading, but yeah, there's like a lot of symbolism to the end of things, to the climax of something, to the tipping point of something. So there's a real need to there may be sort of a cycling through of like staying and sticking with certain emotions, certain feelings. You may be identifying very, very deeply with the emotions that you're having. And if you're having like a consistent repeat of similar emotions, being aware of that. Emotions are big here. Like, what are you doing and how is it making you feel? Are you overindulging in... Aw. My card peeled off. Are you overindulging in a certain emotional energy signature? Are you overindulging in anxiety? Are you overindulging in like anxious thinking? Is there something that you're doing that is keeping you anxious? Like, and you may have to become a little bit more disciplined and change up the things that you're doing, the habits that you're participating in daily, so that you can really nurture your emotions differently. Because there may be something that you're doing, especially if it's the way that you're thinking, waking up and looking at Instagram, and then you end up in this sort of like mindset of comparison. And that's causing you to be anxious throughout your entire day. Like, that's just a small example. So, like, being really focused, changing up your routine. There's a need to change up your routine here and do something differently. And nurture yourself a little bit better. Be more compassionate when it comes to how you feel. It's almost like somebody who is seeing their anxiety and being like, oh, I'm just an anxious person, there's no way I can control this, versus looking at the habits that you buy into and partake in moment by moment. Say you know that when you go outside or when you work out, you feel better, but you haven't really grounded into that habit. So because you haven't grounded into that habit, you just allow yourself to exist in a state of chaos, even though you know that moving your body, going outside, is really how you can alleviate some of these issues. Yeah, there's a need to shake things up. There's a need to go a different way. There's a need to be different, to observe your emotions differently instead of identifying with them, looking at them from a more objective point. I'm not saying that, a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that you should just disregard a diagnosis. What I am saying is, if there is a way, it's like somebody with high blood pressure. If you know that you're partaking in something, or if you're eating something, if you're in a high stress environment, or you're allowing yourself to continue to respond to your environment in an unproductive way that causes you to agitate this condition, and then there's some things that needs to change. So maybe this person, as an example, decides to learn how to handle their stress and their anger differently by meditation. Maybe they eat less fast food or fried foods. They take certain steps that really assist them in really alleviating some of the issues that come with having high blood pressure. So again, like, this is just an example. So there's a need to be aware, which again was kind of the theme of this, the beginning of this reading group too, is like, you're not aware of why these things are happening. It could be, again, like this, when we're in a cycle, we're so used to things being as they are. So you're like, oh, well, this is just how I am. This is just how I think. People think that I'm, this is a funny example. People think that I'm pessimist, but I'm just being realistic. And that's not, can we challenge that idea? And that was just an example. But there's a lack of awareness with seeing yourself clearly. There's a lack of clarity around seeing yourself. So there's a need to increase your awareness, and it may be a little bit tedious at first, but it's really important. It's really, really, really important. Yeah, there's, back to like the phrase for this reading, aligning with divine self-empowerment. Are you giving your power away to external circumstances and not really thinking outside the box of how you can heal these things? And I say that hesitantly because heal is such a charged word. But I keep getting somebody who's very anxious, who's just nervous, who's worried all the time. And there's a lot of tools out there. You can even do research on anxiety and the things that you may be struggling with. Ruminating thoughts, obsessive thinking, catastrophic thinking, those types of things. You can do research on those things and learn for yourself different techniques that you can work with and implement into your day. Being more conscious of your thoughts and how those thoughts trigger your emotions. Journaling exercises. There's a lot of different tools. There's a lot of different tools that you can look into that can really free you from just this energy leak. And that can give you the clarity that you need to show up brilliantly. As brilliant as you possibly can, because there's something very brilliant about you. Choose love. Do what is right for everyone involved. Offer a helping hand. Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin. Yeah, meditation may be helpful for this group. Oh, hello, Jesus. I definitely recommend nature for any of you who resonate with just being in your head way too much. I'm getting like Virgo energy, Gemini energy, Mercury in the 6th house in your birth chart. Yeah, that's all I'm getting. If you didn't listen to the intro, there's a link underneath the timestamps if you want to inquire and kind of like, if you're curious about your birth chart, your astrological birth chart. If you have the time of birth, it gives you much more specific information. So just keep that in mind. That's really awesome information. Yeah, the colors are really reminding me of, again, the mind, the thoughts, the head area, beliefs, expression. Also serenity and calmness. So water, nature, and being around water, taking salt baths may really calm your mind down and ground you. I think there's something around water, grounding yourself, really. Getting in touch with your emotions, which brings you back into your body, like allowing yourself to feel those emotions and also observe them instead of drowning in them and identifying with them. Stay calm, trust the good in yourself and others, see the light in the world. Yeah, there's like, I was mentioning pessimism earlier. There's like a need to find the beauty in life again. Like, I really feel like forest bathing and nature walks would be really good for this group. You just need to ground and see something that brings you back to the present moment. Master Jesus, forgiveness. You are on the path of light, love, and forgiveness. Father, healing is possible at this time. There's just something about, like, there's something vaguely, there's this vague feeling of surrounding, like, either being stuck in the past or being caught up in, like, these future what ifs and timelines. And again, it's taking you away from your authenticity and from, like, truthfully expressing yourself, because you're not very present. And you have the most power when you're present. Yeah, there's like giving your power away almost to like invisible things. Like the past, you can't really grasp it, but in your mind, so like giving your power away to old memories, giving your power away to what ifs. Again, it's like unseen. Giving your power away to assumptions, giving your power away to, projections of what you think people might think about what you want to do with your life. Giving your power away to emotions. And I mean, we go through emotional waves throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. Giving your oh my gosh, that was oh my god. Giving your power away. Sorry about that. What was I even saying? That really... Oh, that's so annoying. Oh, giving your power away to identifications and like, which I guess could kind of like connect back to assumptions, like the way that you identify yourself. Like you're like, oh, I'm this thing. Giving your power away to like limiting ideas and ideals of yourself. It's like these intangible things, I feel, that disempower you. Maybe even like disempower yourself through how you wake up and start your day, like your routines, like how you move throughout the day. You start on the wrong foot. You're just like giving your power away immediately as you wake up through some of the things that you wake up and do, through what you give your energy to. All right. Start the day light, group 2. Like, what are you excited about? What would get you out of bed in the morning? Like, what if you're going on social media and it drains you, it's not that. If, like, going outside, letting your dog out and just kind of getting a fresh, like, inhale and exhale of fresh air, like, I'm thinking of breath work for this group. I want to emphasize again, like, disclaimer, like, consult someone, because I don't know if you're, like, a very anxious prone person. If you do certain breath work, maybe it might make you more anxious or something like that. So just definitely be aware of those things. I feel like I have to just make that known. But yeah, for some of you, breath work could be of interest to you. Meditation, I mentioned that, and it could just be, you know, there's different ways to meditate. It could be, I love hula hooping and flow arts. That's super meditative, and it is also very physical too. So it grounds me because things like the dragon staff and stuff like that, like, you're being aware of how, like, a certain object is moving on your body. So you're, like, doing certain tricks and making certain shapes with these tools. So yeah, that's just an example. There's different ways to meditate. Walking, forest bathing, walking trails around your neighborhood, or traveling and going somewhere new and finding trails there. But like, I keep mentioning, like, the earth and water, salt water, so the beach, or salt baths. Himalayan salt, using Himalayan salt in your food, root vegetables, like, just grounding in some way for this group. Like, there's a need to get out of your head. I release all negative thoughts of the past and all worries about the future. I was shuffling. I hope you guys heard me. I didn't just... Yeah, there's strong, like, Mercurial, Virgo, like, very, like, heady energy. Maybe you have Aquarius, a strong Aquarius placement, like Aquarius, Mercury. Maybe Venus and Aquarius. I don't know, like, that's a weird placement. Like, you like to get lost in your head, like, you get pleasure out of that, which can be kind of detrimental. Or, like, Aquarius moon, or Uranus and moon conjunct. So that just means, conjunction just means, like, they're the same degree in the same astrological sign. So maybe, like, Uranus is doing something with your moon, or your sun, or your Mercury. My world is a reflection of my thinking. Again, there's, like, an emphasis on the mind here. The two heads are reminding me of, like, shadow, light, ego versus soul thinking, or, like, intuitive thinking versus like, forced thoughts, or, like, anxious thinking, the anxious mind versus the intuitive mind. Like, there's like a splitting here. Like, again, like I mentioned Gemini, mercurial energy. There's a need to be very aware of the mind here, watching your thoughts. Be aware also of what you're absorbing, what you're listening to, the kind of, like, media that you absorb, not just social media, but, like, auditorially. What do you say? What are you saying? What are you just puking out of your mouth? Is it beautiful, or is it just garbage? Like, being aware of all of your senses and how they're being affected, what they're absorbing, and what they're producing, what you're expressing, and who you're around, your environment. I live in the paradise of my own creation. Of course, like, again, like, wow. The universe is filled with endless opportunities for me. I just wanted to share that last one. Okay, group 2. Talk your ear off. My voice, like, oh my gosh. Talk your ear off there. Yeah, let me know what you think down below. This is such a hearty, like, progresso, chunky soup type of reading. I'm so excited about it. It just doesn't feel like I'm talking that much, but yeah, I hope that was helpful. Let me know what stuck out for you, what resonated with you. I really need to hydrate more with these readings because my whole mouth is like a desert. Just fucking, I love you guys. If you stuck around this whole time, God bless you for listening to me talk for this long. I mean, lots, juicy reading. I said that the last reading. Very juicy reading. Let me know, like I said, in the comments, like, what stuck out for you. It's really good to integrate that information by, like, you're typing it out, you're writing it out, you're writing it down. Sometimes I take notes during readings and I read back on them. So that's really, like, helpful. Like, share, and subscribe for more. And I love you so much. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you again soon. Good morning, group 3. I gotta admit, it took me so long to come back and do group 3. I don't know why. But I want to throw that out there in case it has something to do with the reading. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, I'm back. Hello. If you chose comfort, this is your reading about divine self-empowerment. Okay. So we have Stuck in the Mud in reverse. You'll have the most cards too. Mountain in reverse. There's this message around giving up too easily, or almost like allowing life to knock you down. So in both these images, I'm going to read the mountain. I don't use this deck often, and I'm just curious about what the mountain has to say. And we have 2 cards that well, this one's 6, and then if you add this up, which is a numerological practice to add up most numbers, not all of them, but most, this adds up to 6. And seeing the number 6 upside down is representative of some sort of disharmony. So it feels like a stagnancy. Like this message for this group, the empowering message is to keep moving forward. Like, I'm seeing an image of someone who, like, trips. I'm thinking of Birkenstocks because this is the sandals I wear. I'm seeing someone on a trail and their shoe gets stuck in the mud and they, like, trip and fall, but they just never get up to finish the trail. And I'm also seeing with this mountain card someone who, again, is on, like, this trail, who's on this path and who's climbing up this mountain, and for whatever reason something stops them and they just never come back to the path. I don't know if something scares you away, or if it's like you fail and then you give up, or you feel some sort of shakeup or discomfort as you're going along this path that you're choosing. And it could be, I really feel like it's a path that's meant for you. And maybe it's something that you've been feeling called back to. And this could be, it could be very broad. It could be just in general with anything that you do. Or for some of you, it could be something specific. I think it could go either way. But maybe it feels like your approach to life is to throw in the towel really quickly. I don't know if this group has encountered any sort of verbal abuse or bullying at a young age. I'm saying that has had a strong effect on your ability to be resilient. And it's not that you're comfortable here with this card. It's like you feel safer in this position, which makes sense with that little bit of background that I'm getting of some sort of verbal bullying or judgment or is it scouring? No, I don't think that's the right word. Scolding. Criticism, judgment, like harsh rejection. It feels more verbal. Like there was a very destructive use of words in your past with other people, loved ones. I'm seeing a feminine figure, so possibly a mother. I'm also thinking of the movie Mean Girls. So there's something here with the feminine. Okay, you have the capacity to flow around any obstacle. Well, there it is. This is the time to adapt. When it's reversed, there's an obstacle to your inquiry. This is not the time to move forward. Wait a while, be patient, and a way around the mountain will be revealed. Pushing forward isn't in your highest good. Don't try to climb too high to grasp the prize that seems out of reach, because it is, for now. If you exceed your limits, you'll find yourself tumbling down and you'll get hurt. Remain open to a new possibility rather than stubbornly forging along. Interesting. They're both alluding to a need to pause and await your venture and knowing the right time to move. Which is so interesting because I feel the complete opposite way of the cards. Let's see. harmony and structure. All right, that's so interesting. Okay. Divine self-empowerment and divine self-empowerment. Divine self-empowerment, good thing. Okay, again, there's this overarching message of disharmony, like the cards were saying, but I feel like there's a different, there's indecision, there's this sort of juggling that's happening, but it's not being done very well, and okay, so the message I was saying earlier, after reading the cards, I don't even know what I was saying. It's so funny. It feels like there's definitely something slowing down. There's a suggestion of a need to slow down. And I feel this is like alluding to a need to consider your intentions whenever you decide to choose something, to take a path. And it almost feels like there's this feeling, it almost feels like there's this need to prove oneself to other people. And so you're almost pushing yourself harder than you need to because it's not coming from a genuine space. It also feels like doing too much at once. There's a need to be more organized and to have a little bit more clarity on the things that you want to do. So the message I was getting earlier was like someone who kind of just gets stuck on the path and they don't continue moving. Because something gets them down. And it feels like I'm getting the image of somebody who tries a lot of different things, but they may not necessarily be aligned with you. which is why you don't continue going on the path. It's like you're choosing things it's like you're choosing the wrong things. Like, you're not, I feel that the harmony and alignment needs to be with your true desires. It's like somebody who chooses the job because it has the benefits, or chooses the job because of the salary, but you're not happy with this job. You're working a ton of hours. You're juggling a lot of different things. I'm also getting the image of someone whose energy is scattered. It's like someone who is still at their day job and juggling their side hustle. And this is not advice. It's just a scenario. It's like this person isn't seeing growth in what they actually are really passionate about because their energy is so scattered. Mars and Aries, wow. Yeah, again, there's like, Mars and Aries is definitely like, that is crazy. That's the first time that's ever happened to me with these cards. Mars and Aries is definitely a starter, but it isn't always the best with finishing something. It sees a goal, and there may be like this initial arousal of the finished goal, but when it comes to sticking to it and seeing it through, like setting a routine and things like that, it can be a little bit boring. It's like the idea of something and beginning something is more exciting than sticking to that same task to see it through. Yeah, so there's definitely a feeling of rushing to things and rushing through things. This is such a... It's a strange group. I feel like I haven't even really received a real message. It's just like a bunch of just random scattered messages. They kind of connect together, but the other two groups I feel were way more like direct. I feel like, for one, there's a real need to slow down and discern whether what you're doing is what you're actually passionate about, and if it lights you up, if it turns you on. Secondly, there's a need for ritual. And this could be around a project, but I feel that this is in general. There's a need for some organization and a very sacred pattern to rely on in your daily routine. And I feel that will give you some of the clarity that you need. I feel like there should be a way in which you engage with your intuition and your instincts, and you allow yourself to kind of be led by your creative impulses, and to check in with your body to see how it feels to do these creative things. So what do you actually have your eyes set on? It's weird. There's such a it's not contradict. There's just like a strong duality with this group. I feel like, I don't know if there's two different sides to it. Like there's a group that needs to slow down because they're rushing, but there's an overall theme of a need for balance, a need for assessing what your needs are, a need for understanding if your desires are yours or if your desires are influenced by other people and you want to do the right thing. So for some of you, that message earlier that I had, even though it contradicts with the cards, the card meanings, some of you have been affected verbally by other people, and so it's kind of led you to become somebody who makes decisions based off of saving yourself from any sort of rejection or judgment. But there's a need to be bolder here, to be independent, to be a free thinker, to take actions, because purely to take actions in a selfish way, in a self-loving, selfish way, because I feel like, and the meaning of the card kind of threw me off, because it's like, should I go with my intuition or should I blend in the card meaning? Does that change the reading? So I think that's why I'm getting, to be honest, like double message. But anyway, I feel like there would be less indecision if you just let go of the expectations of others, what you feel like others would have to say with your decision, and say fuck it and just do it. So either way, I feel that there's a need to assess your intentions with your choices in life. I'm getting an example of like someone who doesn't really want to drink, they're not really into drinking or smoking, say smoking weed. That's a good example because I can relate to that. Like whenever I was in high school, I really did not like weed. Like it was very rare that I would smoke and I would feel okay, but most of the time I get so paranoid, but I wanted to like it because everybody else did. And I was like, there's something wrong with me for not liking smoking weed. And that's not true. I just don't like it. Like it doesn't have to be that. And maybe I would have been that one person, that one individual who went a different path and was like, yeah, you know, I'll chill with y'all, but I don't really like to smoke weed, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that, with being that individual. It's such a small example, but it would have made me unique, you know? Like, oh, okay, she just wants to chill. The masculine and realization. I apologize, Group 3. I hope this is making sense. I think the realization card is another emphasis. It's just giving me somebody who just who's blocking themselves from understanding their path. And the 3 here, the number 3, feels like, it looks like Alice in Wonderland. The number 3 here, and then we have 24 and 42. Another number 6. I don't know if 6 is relevant as a relevant number for any of you. But the number 3, back to that, reminds me of the connection between the mind, body, and soul, and also clarity through that mind, body, soul connection. Which leads me back to Aries, who has a strong connection to their instincts and their body and their primal force and energy, because it's a fire sign. And fire is a lot to do with desire and passion and leadership. Aries is also just being first. So taking that action bravely and boldly, despite not always knowing how the path is going to unfold. Like, I feel that there's a strong sense of the destination, but as far as like the day-to-day, like, you can see the big picture of where you're trying to go, but as far as like the day-to-day steps of how to get there, I feel that that's where this pause is necessary. So I also want to emphasize not rushing, because I feel that if you rush the process without structuring your daily routine, so maybe there's like this need to do research before you step into an arena. There's a need to, these are such like mundane examples, but I bought a really nice blender recently, and you know, before you buy certain appliances, you want to do research, you want to compare it to other blenders, you know. Yeah, it's, I don't know why I'm getting these mundane examples, but it's just taking those tiny steps that add up to big shifts along the way. Like, if you do research for something you're passionate about every day for a month, that's 30 to 31 days of studying something. Versus jumping in and then you have to stop because you didn't look into something, so you made a mistake, you have to clean this mess up here, and then you go back and do it and still haven't really like set yourself up so you don't have to go back and fix something. I don't know if some of you are into human design, but I'm getting a strong manifesting generator aura type. Definitely sacral or splenic. Okay. So, I'm just trying not to judge myself as I'm giving this message. Okay. Because it feels so scattered, I feel like the other two. Anyways. I'm getting, with a masculine card here, there's a lot of masculine energy. I feel that this group, there's a need to balance feminine and masculine energies. So knowing when to push through, when to keep going, when to step into that masculine force to push forward, when to build some structure, and then knowing when to rest, when to slow down, when to assess the scene, when to take a pause. When to sort of daydream and maybe visualize a little bit more of where you're at, where you want to go, assess how you're feeling about where you're going as well, if it still resonates with you, if it's still where you want to be, how your body feels. Yeah, he's holding the moon phases, so there's a need to respect adaptation, being adaptable, the ebbs and flows of your emotions, your feelings, and your intuition when it comes to just your day-to-day. So the overarching message that I'm getting is really tapping into your body, your emotions, your instincts, your masculine intuition, and your feminine intuition. And I feel there is a deep need to connect with the body every day to understand this intuition deeply. So for the ones who are constantly trying to make a decision to step out of your mind and to step into your body, and that should be, I feel that would be a really beneficial part of your daily routine. Pile 3, aligning with divine self-empowerment. Pile 3. Divine order and ascension. Do what you feel is right. An important lesson is unfolding. Move into your true self. Rise above the darkness. The light is here. Interesting. And then soul flame. Rediscover a lost part of yourself. So I'm just being brought back to my original message before I read those descriptions. It's like I'm feeling more strongly. It is interesting too because I felt so indecisive by this reading, and I know a lot of readers take every moment of the reading as a part of the reading, which is so interesting because with this one I was very confident about what I was intuiting from the cards, and then I felt led to, I wanted to read the description. And then when I read the descriptions, I was so easily swayed and influenced to change what I was intuiting from the reading, which for the rest of the reading confused me and made me feel insecure about how to deliver the message. I was like, wow, that's so embarrassing. Was I wrong? Am I confusing this viewer? You know what I mean? So it's and it's so interesting, like, because that goes really well with the person that I feel that would choose this pile, because it's like you feel very confident and the messages still kind of align with that, with somebody who needs to keep moving forward despite what the description of these cards might have said. But because I'm taking this as Bible, as end all be all, that kept me from my own unique interpretation of these cards, because it may mean that in one reading, but is that going to be the consistent message? Maybe not, you know? So allowing myself to be the empowered one to decide what these cards mean for me in this reading, versus just going off of the description and assuming that that's what that card is going to mean every time I do a reading. So that, I feel like, is a really beautiful example of just me going through the indecisiveness, me feeling a little disempowered because I wasn't going along with what the Oracle card guidebook was telling me, and what was written in the Oracle card guidebook, which threw me off, which made, I feel, the reading a little bit disharmonious, you know, because I was like, oh shoot, am I wrong? So there's like this second guessing, this doubting, and then it slows you down. This Mars in Aries moves fast. It knows exactly where it wants to go. Like, in the beginning of the reading, I was like, boom, got it. I already can see, like, where this is going. I can feel and sense where this is coming from. Like, this makes sense. And then, all of a sudden, you're slowing down. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm having doubts. Oh my gosh, what's going on? I'm being slowed down. I'm indecisive. Now I'm getting two messages. Now I'm not sure, like, what's my voice, what's this other voice, you know? So there's nothing wrong with believing in yourself, choosing your own path, saying, hey, I know this is what this says, but this is what I'm getting. Because there's something so powerful in that. And again, I'm dragging out this example of what I was experiencing through this reading, but there's something so powerful of being like, I know that you feel this way, I know that this is what it says, but that's not what I'm getting. This is what I'm getting. And take it or leave it. That's so powerful. That's very fiery, like Aries, like boss energy. But anyways, so maybe that's helpful. Maybe that's the energy that you feel that you're in right now. Or a lot of the time, it's easy to have somebody come and like pop your balloon and you're just like, whoa, I don't know. Like, I'm a little deflated now after that, like, opinion, or after, you know, now I'm kind of doubtful. And it's like, it is what it is, you know? You should just, I'm hearing that song, Go Your Own Way. I think it's an 80s song, I'm not sure. Go your own way. And be brave doing that. There's no reason to doubt yourself. Because it's just like, then you're just riding the fence. You're not choosing a side, you know? Kind of like how I did in this reading. So we have 3 cards that talk about yourself. Do what you feel is right. Move into your true self. Rediscover a lost part of yourself. So there's a real need to individuate with this group, and the individual is very, very prevalent with Aries, and taking actions based on you. Being a little bit more selfish. Again, like, I do feel that the slowing down is important to assess why there may be some indecision. Where is it coming from? Is it because an outside external source made you feel insecure about the path that you were choosing? And yes, there may be mistakes that come up. There may be things that you could have been wrong about. There may be things that need to be fixed. But those things allow you to be resilient. You're like, okay, there's a little blip, you know, there's a little hiccup, and I know how to fix this because I've gone through this before. I know how to rearrange and alter the path so that I can make this work for me because I believe in the direction that I'm going. I don't care what other people are saying. So we have Soul Flame, Ascension, and Divine Order. And Ascension and Divine Order, again, like, kind of allude to this shiny I'm seeing like the yellow brick road, a thin trail with gold on the path, and it's really shiny and it's attractive. And then there's this path I'm seeing next to the golden path, and there's like this long line of people there, and they're all going there, but no one is going to this beautiful golden path for whatever reason. I feel like this is there's a path of least resistance, and then there's a path that you are resistant to, but is the true path of least resistance because it's your path. And yes, it's golden and it looks beautiful. However, there will be some triggers, some challenges on this path, but ultimately that will be a part of the beauty and the goldenness of this path, and you will be able to feel as if you are evolving. You will feel like you are evolving. You will feel in control, despite any hiccups that come along the way. You will feel the divine order. Feels like whenever you take this path, there will be synchronicities. You will feel empowered. You will feel like a thirst for this challenge. Aries is a warrior. Aries and Mars, it's just so, that still blows my mind. That's never happened to me with those astrology cards before, but Mars in Aries takes on the challenge. It looks for challenges. That's where the boredom comes from, is like, oh, this is such an easy path. You know, Aries would look at that path where everybody is in line and like slowly, I'm seeing just like, it almost looks like a bunch of people who, they're not even excited to be on the path. They're just there, and they don't seem awake. They seem a little groggy. They seem like, I don't know. It's just like, why are you even there? but they're all in line, moving on that just dirt path, you know? And maybe there's a version of you that you need to release that's like, oh, well, I know this path is beautiful. I'm also seeing like the goldness on the path that I'm visualizing. Only you see that. It's like if it was only your path, you would be the only person to see that this path is highlighted with gold. And other people might have a path that you don't see as golden, but is golden for them because it's their path. It's lighting up because it's meant for them to move and conquer and trailblaze on. So that's just something else I want to emphasize, is like, with Aries being the individual, with you going your own way, it's very much about you trusting that your perspective is valid. Of course, to discern your triggers, why you're choosing certain things, the emotions behind it, especially with your comfort zone, which I mentioned earlier. Are you choosing where you're at because it's safe? Then get the fuck off of that path. Like, that is not a reason to choose to do something. Because if you're going to be safe your whole life, like, what have you done? What are you doing? Of course, like, I don't mean in an obvious way, like getting in a car with a drunk person or some shit like that. I mean like your passions versus choosing, I don't know, like something that you don't like to do. It's different though. I want to note that as well. Like, another disclaimer is like, it's different if you're working and you know that you're working to add and invest into something that you're passionate about. That's completely different. But if you're just there and you're suppressing and repressing the desires of your heart, if you're an artist but you are working at a tax company and you're just like, well, I don't know, like, I know that I'm good, and like, you know, I just post on my Instagram all of these beautiful art pieces and people want to buy them, but it's just like, I don't know, you know, I don't know if that's a good example, but it's something along that, like, that's the example that's coming to my mind. Anyways, this golden path. I feel that there is a part of you that would have normally chosen and maybe still would choose that path that I'm imagining where everybody is on. Because it's like attractive in a way. It's like, okay, well, why is everybody on this path? Like, there must be something good about it. However, with this Mars and Aries energy, there is a push and a drive and an excitement for going on a path that nobody else is on. And it's not scary to the Mars and Aries person. It's thrilling, it's exciting, and it's something to brag about because nobody else has been on that path. There's no footsteps. It's beautiful, it's gold. You don't know what kind of just things you'll come up on and discover on this path. There's a need with this group. There's just so many things unfolding as I go along with this reading. We're already at 44 minutes, but there's a need with this group to align with their uniqueness, to get excited about being that person that's not doing what other people are doing, to find that thing in every moment of your day, to weave that into your daily routine. Like, there may be some things that you like to do, maybe that nobody knows about or that not a lot of people like to do, and maybe because of that you've kind of stopped doing it or kind of felt weird or awkward because you, I don't know, like to collect stamps. I don't know. That's not weird, but I'm just trying to think of something that's like out there or unorthodox. I can't really think of anything right now. Yeah, there's just a need for an allowance in your daily routine to move the body, to connect with your inner child and your childlike nature, to be more playful, and to connect with that part of yourself and your body, your instincts, and move and allow yourself to move in that direction and to be led in that direction. And again, to like with these cards up here with the stuck in the mud and the mountain card, there's a need to, as you're experiencing this and choosing this direction, this new direction, check in with yourself and observe how it feels compared to how it felt before, when you were doing what you were doing before. How does it feel to wake up in the morning and move your body? How does that feel? Before you continue on, it's almost like there's a need to integrate these experiences, these new experiences, so that you can continue to take these steps. Because if you're doing it, but then you're not realizing like, oh, that actually made me feel good. Like, there's a need to be aware of the self here. Again, Mars and Aries, aware of the self, being aware of the body, being aware of your movements and where they come from, where this instinct, the source of this instinctual, impulsive movement towards that. And then once you assess, like, yes, no, then the next instinctual action from there, based on what your body is telling you. Yeah, I'm getting like a splenic person in human design. Okay, yeah, y'all's is going to be the longest reading. I hesitate to make them long because I want people to watch them, but I know that it's a lot to sit through like a 40 to 50 minute reading. unless you're like driving and you're just listening to me talk, like that feels a little bit more productive. But you know, I don't know. I'm just making assumptions here. Okay. Messages for group 3. Last messages. Affirmation and advice for aligning with divine self-empowerment for group 3. Whoa. Okay. That's so interesting. This came out in reverse. I need to trust my voice. Look at that. Okay. Slow progress is still progress. I'm doing the best that I can. I believe in my abilities, I believe in myself and my abilities. I trust my inner voice. The universe supports me in every way. I am just pure magic. All right. That was a ride. that was an interesting ride, group 3. Thank you, all of you who stayed this long, for stopping by, for listening to the end. That was so interesting. So interesting. Let me know what you think down below, what stuck out for you. Yeah, just anything, any feedback. I love it. And like, share, and subscribe for more readings like this one, and I can't wait to see y'all soon.